Harris, investigative journalist. Art's website, artharris.com, has become the source of record for the latest developments in the Haley Cummings case. Art, what is the very latest?
The latest I can tell you, Jane, is that Misty is on the run to parts unknown. She took off after a fight with Ronald, her husband and refuge, who's been her big defender, but he threw her clothes out several days ago, and she ran out, kicked her out of the trailer they were living in. He then has a change of heart, chases her down, apologizes, brings her back, and then the next day she gets in a car and takes off.
Well, here's what I don't understand, Art Harris. If Ron had been in touch with Misty, why was he calling around looking for her? Why do records show, reportedly, he tried unsuccessfully to call her 20 times? It just doesn't make sense. What do you know?
I don't have any information that he was talking to her. In fact, my sources say that he did not speak with her after 8:30. They had a fight on the phone. He did not speak with her until 3 a.m. when he came home. So you have all those phone calls. You have cell phone towers that put him at work, and you have other towers that are now being investigated along with Misty's telephone to see if, in fact, hers was off or if, in fact, she made other calls.
What I don't understand, what do you mean they're now being investigated? I mean, the big question is, if she went out, where did she go, and who else knows where she went? How is it possible they're just checking now on her phone records?
Well, no, they have her phone records, but, you know, there's a GPS issue. There are some cell towers concentrated in one area of the county, and then there's sketchy ones elsewhere. So right now they're trying to figure out if, in fact, she had it off or what happened with her phone. And right now, Jane, I can tell you that she is under a lot of pressure. And my latest on their relationship is Ron has told her, don't come back. Jane, I can tell you that Misty, I've talked to her family, her grandmother up in Tennessee. They say Misty didn't really have a chance. She grew up, you know, living out of cars. Her parents had their own issues. She wasn't made to go to school. She had learning disabilities. And it's really sad to hear her describe Misty coming home from school saying, Grandma, I can't do this. Will you help me? And then her grandmother sitting down and poring over her homework, this wonderful lady trying to summon what she remembered from school, unable to help her grandmother.
Art Harris, investigative journalist, you've become the source of all things Cummings. You've heard some reports of a comment that Misty allegedly made. This is new information.
That's right.
Tell us
Jane.
about it.
It's on artharris.com. I interviewed the neighbor who says that her brother Tommy stole his gun. Tommy's in jail now. He told me, though, that Misty, when she was over there with her mother using the phone, once said, I'm, quote, damn tired taking care of someone else's children. And then as she was leaving, she turned to him and said, she called him Mr. Todd, would you please pray for me? He said, well, Misty, I don't really go to church that much, but I'll see what I can do. You know, ironically, I've talked to a lot of her friends and family. Ronald was probably the most stable relationship she's ever had. I asked Ron that question, Jane, and you know what he told me?
What?
Over dinner several months ago, he said, you keep your friends close and your enemies closer. He was afraid, he said, that if, in fact, Misty took off to Tennessee, wherever, he would never find out what happened to Haley because she was the last one who was with her.
And now she's missing. Where is she, Art?
I'm just told she is out of town. No one can find her. She was supposed to come back and have a reunion with Ronald on Thursday, but I'm now told that's
Art,
off.
what are you saying?
So the pressure is on her. She hops in a car with someone and she takes off.
Why is the pressure on her now? This has been going on for months.
Well,
is it because they dredged the pond?
They dredged the pond. Her brother comes in and says that, you know, she wasn't home when he went over and banged on the door. I had a major Gary Bowling demonstrate to me how hard he banged. He banged on the table, and I could hear it all the way over the phone. It was loud. So if anybody...
So that implies that she was not at home at the time that Haley disappeared.
Or she was so, you know, in such a hard sleep from whatever she'd been doing. That's what Ron's mother believes, that she didn't wake up. And she claims through her lawyer that she was home. Problem with the investigation, Jane, law enforcement tells me that they've had such a tough time verifying stories, determining credibility. One of the officers told me, you know, Art, some of these people, it's like trying to interview a rock.
Yeah, and try to figure out what's real, what's fantasy, what's made up.
Right.
Very difficult. Excellent job. Thank you. Fantastic panel.